Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worthiness and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and meaning. My name is Reverend Kate Wilkinson, and I am so glad that you have joined us this morning. Welcome to those of you in the room, and welcome also to those of you joining us via our live stream. Today's service is about one of my very favorite topics, ritual. In fact, this is one of the first things that I fell in love with this congregation for. Early on in my ministry, I planned a ritual where people were invited to come forward and light a candle if they were ready to let go of something. And I told the worship committee, I'm afraid that no one is going to come up. That was based on my experience at my previous ministry location. I was like, so when we get to that point, can you 5 people come up, and then that might prime the pump, and maybe people will follow you? Well, that Sunday, as soon as I introduced the ritual, the entire congregation got up and formed a line, and I just knew that we would be a good match. But before we begin our worship service, I have just a few announcements to share with you. Speaking of rituals, you might have noticed that we don't have our silent candles table out this morning. That's because we're going to be using that space for a different ritual later in the service. You could still write a prayer there, but we're reserving the candles for later. You'll notice we have changed up a little our masked section. So we used to reserve these far 2 rows for folks who were definitely wearing masks, and now it is the window aisle that is reserved. You must wear a mask if you're sitting in that aisle, and you can wear a mask anywhere in the sanctuary, of course. But if you want a little extra distance from people, that far aisle is the seating for you. And we've opened up this aisle here. It got a little squishy in here last week. Tonight's great music on Sundays at 5 will be Broadway Carnival Edition. The talented Great Music Ensemble will share songs from Camelot, Evita, Hamilton, Les Mis, Spamalot, and more, so we hope that you will come back for that. Our guest musician this morning is Tom Wilson Weinberg, who will also be offering a 60-minute recital called Hello Provincetown here at the Meetinghouse this Wednesday night at 5 o'clock. All of the donations will go to the UU Meetinghouse, so please come and bring friends on Wednesday, this Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much, Tom, for this morning and for Wednesday. A reminder that our office will be closed on Thursday for Carnival. You just don't even want to try to get here, I'm just saying. But we hope that you have a fun and safe Carnival. Finally, if you are attending in person today, we hope that you will stay for a little while after the service for coffee and conversation downstairs in Acker Bosworth Hall or out on our lawn if the rain holds off. Let's take a moment now to affirm our Meetinghouse covenant. You can find this printed on the purple laminated cards in your pews, but I'm going to say it line by line, and you can repeat each line back to me. Love is the spirit of this Meetinghouse.
Love is the spirit of this Meetinghouse.
This is our great covenant. To dwell together in peace. To seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now, as we light our chalice here in the sanctuary, I invite those of you joining us online to light a candle wherever you are. In that way, we can feel connected even while we are apart. And this morning, I invite our worship hosts, Claire and Thalia, to light our chalice this morning.
Good morning. Our chalice lighting this morning is by Albert Schweitzer. This quote is one that people with kidney disease and those waiting for a transplant have adopted as their mantra. And this morning, we hold in our hearts Don James, who has spent the last 18 days in the hospital dealing with kidney disease. He hopes to be back with us in September. At times like this, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lit the flame within us.
Won't you please join me now in singing our opening hymn? This is in our teal hymnals, Singing the Journey, and it's the very first one, number 1000, Morning Has Come. Please rise as you are able for Morning Has Come, hymn number 1000. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. You may be seated. As we settle more deeply into our time together, I invite you to join me now in a few minutes of silence. You can close your eyes if you like, or keep them open. Notice the sounds around you, how your body feels. Notice even if you are uncomfortable with the silence, but don't let it trouble you. This is a time to quiet our minds, to tune into our environment on a deeper level. At the end of our time of silence, we will sing together Spirit of Life, which is hymn number 123 in the gray hymnals. You can also find the words to this song printed on the purple laminated cards in your pews. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. But first, let us enter a few minutes of silence together.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from a piece by Ari Honorvar in Yes magazine called Why Rituals Are Good for Our Health. I don't know if I could have survived 7 years of my childhood without the soul-saving rituals of my Persian culture, Ari says. I grew up amid the Iran-Iraq War, which killed 1 million people. Besides the horrors of the war, freedom of thought and expression were severely restricted in Iran after the Islamic Revolution. Women bore the brunt of this as, in a matter of months, we were forced to ditch our previous lifestyle and observe a strict Islamic attire, which covered our bodies and our hair. We lost the right to jog, ride a bicycle, or sing in public. Life seemed unbearable at times, but we learned to bring meaning into uncertainty and chaos by maintaining grounding practices and developing new ones. It helped that in Persian culture, we had ceremonies to turn to. We clung to the 3,500-year-old Zoroastrian ceremonies that correspond to the seasons. Several of these rituals take place during the spring because the equinox marks the Persian New Year. Besides a thorough spring cleaning, we jump over a bonfire to cleanse our inner landscape and give our maladies to fire and gain vitality from them. On the longest night of the year, winter solstice, we stay up all night eating fruits and nuts, reciting poetry, playing music, and dancing. This is to symbolize survival and celebration during dark times. Rituals, which are a series of actions performed in a specific way, have been part of human existence for thousands of years. They are not habits. With habit, the actions and behaviors are casually carried out to the desired outcome. For example, brushing our teeth to prevent cavities and gum disease, and exercising to keep healthy. Rituals, on the other hand, are goal-demoted, which means that their actions have no instrumental connection to the outcome. For example, we sing Happy Birthday to the same melody, even though it isn't tied to an external result. And as strange as rituals be from a logical perspective, they have evolved as distinct features of human culture. While it's not clear exactly how they help, rituals reduce anxiety, improve performance and confidence, and even work on people who don't believe in them. In a University of Toronto study, participants who performed a ritual before completing a task exhibited less anxiety and sensitivity to personal failure than when they completed the task without first performing the ritual. Right? We live amid a loneliness epidemic where the lack of belonging and community has been linked to high suicide rates and an increased sense of despair. The United States has one of the worst work-life balance scores in the world, while more Americans have become disillusioned with organized religion as a broad and rapidly rising demographic consider themselves spiritual but not religious. Perhaps with fewer opportunities for people to be in community, many shared cultural rituals are falling away, and with them, a grounding source for connection and mental health. Stories such as those told during the Jewish ceremony of Passover Seder have become ritualized because they are recited in the same way each year. Rhythm and music play a similar role in ritual. Whether we're chanting in Sanskrit or singing the national anthem, our brains tend to resonate with those around us. So if everyone is doing the same dance, hymn, or prayer, all of those brains are working in the same way. This can engender a powerful feeling of connectedness. It also reduces stress and depression through a combination of effects on the autonomic nervous system, which is ultimately connected to the emotional areas of the brain, the limbic system. According to one study, chanting the Sanskrit syllable Om deactivates the limbic system, softening the edge of fear, anxiety, and depression. Psychologist Hobson confirms that rituals aren't just a benefit to our mental health, they're actually essential. We are an intensely social and ritualistic species, he says. Take this piece out of our human narrative, and you lose a piece of our history and our humanity.
Now is the time when we take a collection for the ongoing support of this Meetinghouse and our shared ministry. As we enjoy a musical reflection by Tom, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary or online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org. At this point, I invite 3 volunteer ushers forward to take up our offering. On and off-site, your offerings will be gratefully received.
Good morning. I've been thinking about the theme for this year. It took me by surprise, resonance and revolution. And this is rituals. It all ties together, it seems to me. See how we are. I'm asking, see how we are. We've come this far, we came so near. We're keeping on, it's clear. That's how we are. We're a bleeding heart. We know how to start the tears running. Oh, we're an easy touch. We want so much, it's stunning. Oh, we meet a stranger, no thought of danger. We just do what we do. We like accents, lots of accents. We have ours too. Sometimes we're alone, then we rely on self-reliance. When we're on our own, we still have books and science. Phone always ringing, we come out swinging. When lie follows lie, our hearts are bursting. We're the ones who up and try. See how we are, I'm asking, see how we are. We came this far, we came so near. We're keeping on, it's clear. That's how we are. We try not to mope, even though hope is not in fashion. Blazing our own trail, we succeed or fail with passion. Ambushed by voices, we choose our choices. We select and select. We choose correctness. We choose politically correct. See how we are, I'm asking, see how we are. We came this far, we came so near. We're keeping on, it's clear. That's how we are. We're keeping on, we're keeping on, we're keeping on, we're keeping on, we're keeping on. Will you join me? We're keeping on, we're keeping on, we're keeping on, we're keeping on. We're keeping on, 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 oh, we're keeping on.
Thank you. In an episode of Sex and the City, you weren't expecting that opening, were you? In an episode of Sex and the City, Sarah Jessica Parker's character, Carrie, once said that when she was just starting out in New York in her 20s, she would sometimes go without dinner and use the money to buy an issue of Vogue magazine instead. She said, "I thought it fed me more." Now, while I don't really relate to loving fashion magazines, I have always remembered that line and the articulation that we are fed not just by food, but by our passions, by what we love, by what we pay attention to. We are fed not just by food, but by friendship, by purpose, by beauty. And sometimes we get comfortable coasting through life on the surface level. We go to work, we take care of the house, we buy a new dishwasher, we take the dog to the vet. Even our volunteering or interactions with our families can be done at this surface level when we engage through habit and obligation rather than deep purpose and connection. We remember to feed our bodies, but not our souls. We don't realize that we aren't engaging at the fullest heart level until there comes a moment when we are invited to go deeper with more intention. And it awakens a level of connection that we did not even know that we were yearning for. This happened to me the other day. I have been working on a group project for the better part of a year now. It's taken a lot of time and energy, but the success of the project has not always been guaranteed. Lately, my hopes for it had begun to dwindle, and my engagement with it had become surface level responding to emails, periodically checking in with the others, but none of the passion or excitement that I had held at the project's start. And then, last week, one of the group members invited us to gather for a little ritual on the beach. There was no real plan. We just wanted to be together as a decision was being made somewhere else that would affect our project. We thought we might send some prayer energy their way, hoping for the best outcome. Now, sometimes when you're a minister, you feel in charge of the spiritual direction of any given event. But with this group of women, that wasn't the case. As we approached the beach with no real outline of how to spend our time together, people began to call out ideas. And the world around us offered up all the materials that we would need to cast a sacred space. There was a boy sitting on the beach with a giant display of shells that he had collected. It was like a seashell emporium, all the shells lined up in rows by color and size. He'd even made a little sign that said, "Please take a shell." And there was a tip jar, should you be feeling generous. Apparently, I was not feeling particularly generous because I walked right by this boy. But someone else in the group stopped and called me back. "Let's each choose a shell," she said, and put some money in the tip jar. I found a shell that seemed to have a thumbprint on it, the perfect place to hold on to it, smooth and comforting in my hand. Someone else said, "I was thinking we could stand in the water." So we all took off our shoes and we let the cool water of the ocean provide relief from the hot day. We stood in a half circle looking out across the water that connected us to the faraway places where decisions were being made. Was there a moment when you first believed in this project? Or really thought it would work? Someone asked. And then we all took turns sharing stories, moments when we felt confident, silly stories of connection with other group members, memories and highlights of our journey together. Now, we didn't name all the times that we felt discouraged or weren't getting along. We just lifted up those moments of belief. Those moments of yes. And it reminded me why I had engaged with the project in the first place all those months ago. We sent our energy across the bay. Someone had picked up a feather on the beach, and we took turns using it as a quill to write the word yes in the water. And we all did it in cursive, and we thought, kids don't know how to do this. And then we were done. The whole thing took only about 10 minutes or so, but it had transformed me. I felt so deeply connected to the group, to our work, to the kids on the beach gathering shells, to my deeper purpose. I walked back to my car with sandy feet and wet pants, full of joy for these women, for this thing we're trying to do, and for the reminder that the secular becomes holy through intention and attention. How do you divide the holy from the mundane? Where is that boundary exactly? We experience every holy thing with our bodies, these skin clothes. How then is nourishing our bodies with warm bread not holy? How then is washing the dish not a meditation? How then is standing in the ocean not a prayer? Sunday cannot be the only holy day, not if we are paying attention. I moved to the U.S. when I was 14, Ari says. Remember, she's the author of our opening reading. After living here for 2 decades, I became a mother and was confronted with the phrase, "It takes a village to raise a child." But where was that mythical village and the rituals that made it sane? A pregnant woman in Iran had a rotating menu of dishes made for her by her friends and family. A new mother was surrounded by people who took turns assisting with daily tasks. But in the U.S., she was expected to fend for herself and for her baby immediately after childbirth. I observed that besides standard holiday traditions, community building practices were lacking, she said. So after 20 years of living in the U.S., Ari says, I decided to create my own community rituals. I started with my family. At dinners, we banned electronic devices, lit candles, and discussed set topics of conversation. We held weekly family meetings with opening and closing ceremonies and used a talking stick to enforce respectful communication. At birthday dinners, we took turns saying, "I love you because." Candlelit dinners were no longer saved for special occasion. Using the talking stick helped me to listen more attentively and choose my words more carefully. Huddling together at the end of each family meeting provided me with a sense of accomplishment. Each ritual, no matter how small, anchored me into something bigger and provided a sense of belonging. Then we began to build rituals with the larger community. First, we hosted a multi-generational Sunday potluck with friends and family. Each week, 5 to 10 of us gathered, shared food, and recounted what made us grateful. During each meal, I noticed I was lighter, more engaged with others, and laughed more. Later, we built more community rituals into the week. I posted on Nextdoor, asking our neighbors to join us on Monday evening walks to the neighborhood park and back. In this age of isolation, Ari says, we need nourishing and uplifting means of creating community by bringing together members of different generations as our ancestors did. From my experience in Iran, she says, rituals can be particularly valuable during hard times. In the U.S., she says, we don't have to worry about bombs and food rations, but we still have challenges to our security that affect our mental and physical health. Rituals can help us by offering communities opportunities for healing and support. Last year, I was invited to contribute to a book that 2 colleagues of mine were pulling together. It's called Blessing It All: Rituals for Transition and Transformation. And it just arrived in the mail this summer. It was such an exciting day. And it was a much bigger book than I had been picturing because so many of us contributed. And this week I was reading the foreword to the book, and I was really touched by the story of why these colleagues had decided to write the book in the first place. When they were in their 20s, both active in UU young adult circles, their friend Katie died in a car accident on the way home from General Assembly. One of them was in the car when it happened. In the days and weeks after the accident, they gathered with friends and loved ones, all brokenhearted, and they passed time together, time without Katie. But other than the day of her memorial service, they were unsure how to be together now, what to do to recognize their collective grief, to mark it somehow. We thought carefully about how we wanted to mark the first anniversary of Katie's death, they write in the book. Since we were offered no structure for such a ritual, we made one up. And we and other young people who loved and missed Katie dearly got together and created something we hope would give us what we so desperately needed. We invited all of Katie's community, and about 50 people came to the ritual we held. It was deeply meaningful, they said. But they wished that they hadn't had to create it for themselves. Now, as ordained ministers serving Unitarian Universalist congregations, they write, we've heard others expressing that same longing that we felt. We have spent late nights trying to figure out how to hold our communities in the face of all that the world throws at us. We've seen colleagues searching for ways to build rituals around particular moments and help congregations mark particular life events. We know that our longing for guides, for containers, for ritual is not unique or even unusual. With this book, they say, we offer a response to this longing. We offer rituals that bless it all, the sacred, beautiful, tragic, ordinary human moments in our lives. Now, I haven't read all the rituals yet, but looking at the index, I see the scope of what's included. Rituals for losing a pregnancy, for blessing a space where a loved one has died, rituals for mending a broken covenant, for carrying hope after collective loss, rituals for blessing Black Lives Matter banners, for head shaving during chemotherapy, rituals for separation and divorce. And I noted that there's one for if both partners are willing to be involved, and another one for an individual if the other person is not. Rituals for retirement, for starting a new school, for affirming new names and pronouns. The ritual that I contributed is a ritual for blessing a temporary home after a disaster. And I wrote it after my friend's home had burned down. They and their children were living in a rented apartment while they figured out what to do next, how to rebuild and move on after losing everything that they owned. The children were having trouble settling in. They didn't feel at home because nothing was familiar. They had none of their photos or clothes or furniture or toys to make their space feel like theirs. And so they asked me if I could help create a ritual to bless their space, make it feel like home for the year that they would be living there. The ritual I wrote included a letter to each room in the apartment to be read aloud by the family as they went from room to room. It starts with, "Dear couch, you're not the couch that we are used to, but we are glad to have you in our home. We look forward to collapsing on you at the end of a long day. We look forward to snuggling up on you to watch movies together. We look forward to lying under a blanket on you when we don't feel well. Thank you for holding our family with your cushions." And then it moves on to the next room. "Dear kitchen, you're not the kitchen we are used to, but we are glad to have you in our home. We look forward to making meals to feed our family here. We look forward to nourishing our bodies with food prepared here. We look forward to telling each other about our day at the dinner table, late night cups of tea. Thank you for being the center of our new home." And at the end of the ritual, they were invited to read the last letter. "Dear new home, you are not the home that we are used to, and we don't plan to be here forever." That was important to say. "But for the next year, you are our home, the place where we gather, the place where we dream for the future, the place where we do our homework, the place where we come together as family. Thank you for being here for us in our time of need. Within your walls, we will laugh and play and grow. You are not our forever home, but we know that home is where we are together. John Shea, a contemporary Catholic theologian, says the spiritual life is at root a matter of seeing. It is all of life seen from a certain perspective. It is waking, sleeping, dreaming, eating, working, loving, relaxing, walking, sitting, standing, breathing. Spirit suffuses everything. And so the spiritual life is simply life, wherever and whatever, seen from the vantage point of spirit. This morning, we invite you to join us in a ritual. You will have 4 to choose from. Decide which one is calling to your spirit. Worship committee members, if you could go to your ritual stations. The first ritual is a ritual of remembrance. If you are missing someone today, we invite you to come to the table in the corner of the sanctuary at the right and light a candle for them. Write their name in our prayer book. In this way, you will honor them, make them present with us here today. The second ritual is a ritual of care for the world. We are bombarded every day with news of those who are suffering. In Gaza and Sudan and Ukraine. In this age of globalization and social media, we feel connected to people very far from us, and we do not always know how to express our care. Sometimes we turn away instead of holding them on our hearts. If your heart is aching for the world today, we invite you to come up to this world map in the front of the stage area and place a heart sticker on the place you are praying for. In this way, we honor our connection to those around the globe who are suffering. The third ritual is a ritual of facing our fears. If you are feeling afraid and anxious today and would like a ritual to help you stand in your power to face what scares you, we invite you to the vestibule in the back of the sanctuary, where you will be given a Post-it note to write your fear on. Then, one by one, you will be invited to add your Post-it note to the frame of a mirror as you take a moment to gaze at your own reflection. See your strength there, looking back at you. You have everything you need to meet the challenges of life ahead. And our fourth ritual is a ritual of letting go. If there is something that you have been holding on to, a grudge or resentment, an untruth about yourself or others, a self-doubt that is not serving you, we invite you to the center aisle of the sanctuary. You will be given a piece of dissolving paper onto which you can write the thing that you are needing to let go of. Take turns releasing your paper, that thing you've been clinging to, into the water and watch it dissolve away. Now, folks who are watching from home, use the tools around you to create a ritual in your own space. Light a candle, put a Post-it note on your bathroom mirror, or find a map that you can point to direct your prayers. Write something on a piece of paper and crumple it up and throw it away if you are needing to release something. Be tender with yourselves and know that we are holding you from afar. Those in the sanctuary, I invite you to make your way to a station now of remembrance, of care for the world, of facing your fear, or of letting go. Someone from the worship committee is at each station to guide you. Let us begin. thank you. We are missing a lot of people, aren't we? How do you divide the holy from the mundane? Where is that boundary exactly? We experience every holy thing with our bodies, these skin clothes. How then is nourishing our bodies with warm bread not holy? How then is washing the dish not a meditation? How then is standing in the ocean not a prayer? Amen, and blessed be. Please join me now in singing our closing hymn, number 1008, in that same teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please rise as you are able for 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Be seated.
It has become our practice to pose a question on the theme of the service each week. It can be a topic of sharing at coffee hour or with friends during the week. If you'd like to delve deeper into this topic, we invite you to our midweek Zoom coffee hour on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Please let Kenneth in the office know if you need a link. Our question this week is, what is a ritual that has been meaningful in your life? What is a ritual that has been meaningful in your life?
If there was a ritual that called to you that you didn't get to do, we invite you during our coffee hour time to go back to that ritual station. The spiritual life is at root a matter of seeing. As you go out into your week, I invite you to, in the words of Mary Oliver, pay attention, be astonished, tell about it. Go in peace.
Voting is a ritual. Don't vote for the autocrat, or the plutocrat, or the theocrat. And don't vote for the bureaucrat, the Republican, or the Democrat. Don't vote for those who say, trust us. Vote for racial justice. Vote for liberation. Vote for immigration. Vote for reparation. Vote for public education. Vote for a journalist's voice. Vote for reproductive choice. Vote for prisoner release. Vote for fewer police. Vote for marijuana for me and for you. Vote for LGBTQ. Vote for internet neutrality. Vote for abnormality. Vote for social welfare. Vote for universal health care. Vote for freedom of religion. Vote for freedom from religion. Vote for the arts and sciences. Vote for worldwide alliances. Vote for clean air, clean water. Vote for your granddaughter. Vote for the old and frail. Vote for voting by mail. Vote for the right to vote.